I'm Dr. Donald Crow, and when I had my last relapse 28 years ago, I thought it meant the end of my sobriety. In this video, I want to tell you why it was really the beginning of my recovery, which has now lasted over 10,000 days. Welcome back to Second Act Sobriety. Today, I want to talk about something that, in hindsight, changed everything for me, and something that just might change everything for you. It's a truth that took a relapse to learn. 25 years ago, at the turn of the millennium, Y2K, I was secretly hoping to see a global meltdown. Not because I was some kind of doomsday prepper, but because surviving to the year 2000 at that time seemed like a long shot to me. Back in the late 1990s, survival, just making it through the day, had become my measuring stick for success. By day, I had a respectable career as an emergency physician. But by night, I drank myself into a stupor almost every night. The doctor in me knew that I was testing my body's limits. I was living two lives, one that everyone could see, functional, competent, professional, and another one, dark, isolated, and desperate. That I kept hidden. I'm not stupid. I knew this was a very screwed up situation. But I still had a job. I still showed up. So I clung to this illusion. I'm fine. I'm not like those other people. I just need to fix a few things. So I tried, but I failed. And my life imploded. And I was faced with the ultimatum, go to treatment or else. The jig was up. And I sat there in treatment during those first days, and I felt I could no longer argue with the facts. The life I was living was absolutely not working. This was the problem. And treatment was here to help me solve it. I put together weeks of not drinking, and that turned into months. Soon, I was back home. I thought I had it figured out. I was sober. Sure, my train had derailed, but now it was back on the tracks. And I was convinced I was heading toward the life I'd spent decades building. And things were better. The crisis that had led to my treatment had dissipated. There was light at the end of the tunnel. But soon, an old whisper returned, and it haunted me by saying, things are not as they should be. Your life is still incomplete. This was an all too familiar echo, one that I thought had been caused by my drinking. Apparently, it hadn't. A year or so into my sobriety, that whisper became louder, and with it came the memory, the illusion that if I just took a drink, relief would come. Eventually, I succumbed. I drank. Not much. Ironically, not even enough to get drunk, but enough to get found out. And I and everyone else knew that I had relapsed. I was crushed, defeated. I believed that relapse meant the end of my sobriety. And a voice within me said, see, I told you so. You can't do this. But astonishingly, another voice appeared. And it said, yes, you can. It was in that moment that I realized that I had misidentified the problem. It wasn't that I was living a life that wasn't working. It was that the version of me living that life wasn't working. It wasn't that sobriety had failed. It was that the old version, still in charge, was incompatible with the sober life I was trying to live. Let me tell you something you don't hear often enough. Relapse doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it's the very moment when you realize, I need more than just abstinence. I need to become someone new. My relapse didn't destroy what I'd learned in early recovery. The new me, the one born in abstinence, was still there. Just not strong enough yet. My relapse proved that the new me was an overmatched opponent against the old me in the arena of daily life. And if that old version stayed in charge, drinking would always return. From that point on, I stopped trying to fix my life. Instead, I began the real work, creating a new version of myself. One that doesn't need alcohol to function. One that doesn't chase comfort in a bottle. One that can hear that whisper of self-doubt and not believe it. This new self isn't perfect, but it has gotten stronger with experience. He's more honest and more open to help from others. And over time, he's more in charge. Even now, 28 years later, that old version still tries to grab the wheel, but he doesn't hold it for very long. So let me ask you, have you relapsed? Do you feel ashamed, angry, feel like it's over? I get it. I've been there. But let me offer you this. That pain, that shame, it's not the end. It's a choice. Listen to the old you who wants you to give up, or strive to hear the new voice, the one that wants to grow and take charge. Here's a secret from someone with 28 years of sobriety. Everyone who's ever stayed sober has relapsed. Because in reality, relapse is nothing more than a promise that we've made to ourselves and broken. I've made thousands of those. Probably you have too. Forgive yourself. Begin again. If this is the morning after a slip, and that new version of you, still fragile, says, try again, listen. Relapse doesn't have to mean the end of your sobriety. It could be the moment that real recovery begins. Choose wisely. I'm Dr. Donald Crow, and this is Second Act Sobriety. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. Leave a comment. Tell me how your old self still shows up and how you're building a new one. You're not alone, and your second act can be your best. Remember, quitting drinking doesn't mean giving up anything real. It means opening the door to the life you are meant to live. Check out these other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.